you're getting people to raise their hand, and you're making markets. You're finding people that need something. So you're just kind of just putting two things together. And I just always felt like that type of business would never go under because everybody needs leads. If you're a business and you're looking for new customers, you need leads. So it's recession proof. What's up, everybody? Eric Beer here. And today we have a little treat. I'm answering to all of the people in the Performance Marketer Nation who keep on asking me, practically begging, just lead gen arbitrage. How does it work? How do I do it? Like, explain to me. And I get questions like this all the time. And I figured rather than me just go and tell one person one at a time, that I could just, I could do it all together on one time with answering the people in my text community, answering people in my Facebook group, answering people that see me on the street, people that want to understand how you can earn a living by generating leads. So today we're going to go over what lead gen arbitrage is, what it means, and just a very high level overview on how you would go about doing something like this, right? I've been generating leads for years. It's got to be over almost like 20 years now. Holy wow, I'm getting old. But I mean, the minute I found out about like the lead generation world, I got so excited. It was at a time in my life where I was in my early 20s, mid-20s, and I was on Wall Street. I was trading. I was out in the market, just, living it up, loving it, right? High stress, but high opportunity, high risk, but high reward. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved that I was part of the Wall Street world for a few years. I loved being on a desk. I loved being part of a hedge fund, seeing how a hedge fund works, seeing how just like the big money, like what they're doing with it, how they operate. It really was a useful learning experience for me personally. So I feel lucky that I had that. But there was something missing. I just felt like I didn't have control of my life, my destiny. And I thought it was really important that I dictate what my future is. I dictate what my value is. And I felt like on Wall Street, it was, you could be a good trader, you could be an analyst, you could do all these things, but there's a lot of other things that go into whether you're successful or not, including what's going on in the world. So I left and got into marketing. And the minute I started to learn about online marketing and lead gen, I immediately I loved it. I loved everything about it. And the reason, I think, most importantly, was because I love marketing. I love the advertising. I love being online. I love having control to do it online. And it was there was so much opportunity, not to mention that you're helping people. Because at the end of the day, you're getting people to raise their hand, and you're making markets. You're finding people that need something. So you're just kind of just putting two things together. And I just always felt like that type of business would never go under because everybody needs leads. If you're a business and you're looking for new customers, you need leads. So it's recession proof. And the ability for you to control it yourself was what was very exciting to me personally. So I got into this world. Appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you watching. It's really important. If you like this, like it, share it, show it to some of your friends, anybody you think might get some value out of this. It's really helpful for me. It's helpful for any of the algorithms based on the platform that you're watching or listening to this on. So in that respect, I appreciate it. And hopefully it's helpful for you and you learn something. But so lead gen arbitrage is a business that has a tremendous amount of opportunity, right? The upside on here is just endless, right? You can get deals with companies that need leads, right? If you have a business where you need leads for yourself, then you can use this as well, right? You're out in the market, you're generating leads, but then you're the back end that's going to go and acquire the customer. So whatever that process is on the end after the lead is generated, right? It's the same concept, yet there are people that just don't have the ability to build these huge businesses from the start. Or maybe they never want to get involved with building the actual business or selling that product or service, dealing with the customer service. There's a lot that goes into it. Manufacturing. There's a lot of things that go into that, right? So, a simple low-hanging fruit, the ability for you to start a business very quickly is for you to learn how to generate the leads for other people, for other advertisers, for other companies. And there's two things that are great about that. One is you're learning on somebody else's dollar, so that if you want to choose to start a business down the road where you're selling your own product or service, you already know how to market and find customers, find leads that turn into customers, right? And two is you can start a business very quickly without using any capital whatsoever. You don't have to go and ask people for money to start a business. Like the whole point of like a lead generation arbitrage is that there's cash flow, right? The concept here is that you're going to be going out to the market, generating leads for companies, and you're going to be receiving more than what you pay for those leads. I think that's really important, but you need to figure out how to calculate the risk reward factors that go into starting your own business, going into the media buy, how to take control of the media. And there's a lot of things that you need to understand that I'm going to go over today with you. But I think that's something that I really want you to understand here today is that there's huge upside, but you also need to be smart about how you go about doing this. So let me start off with lead generation, okay? I'm going to define this for you up here. You can see it. Hopefully you can see my screen. So lead generation is defined as finding somebody who's interested in some product or service. And the whole goal of that is, like I said earlier, that lead hopefully will turn into a customer for the end buyer, right? Every lead does not turn into a customer, not even close, as a matter of fact. There's a lot of businesses out there that will generate leads, and like a credit card sale on the internet, if you see 1% to 3% conversion rate, then you have a very successful business, which is funny, right? When you think about it, I always think, well, if you're generating 100,000 leads and they're going to convert 3,000 customers, that means 97,000 of those leads don't turn into customers. It's wild, man. It's really wild. But that's it. That's how it goes. I mean, depending on the business that you're involved in and what the value of a customer is to the advertiser will determine all of the metrics that start from the value of the customer all the way down. But the whole idea here is that you're generating a lead, and that lead is going to buy that product or service from the end buyer, right? Arbitrage is ultimately the buying and selling of the leads in order for you to take advantage of the different prices from the same lead. So different prices in the marketplace. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit later. But the simple thing would be that if somebody's willing to pay you $5 per lead and you can go and buy a lead for $4, it's really simple, right? You make $1 for every lead. So in those scenarios, it's a great deal, very simple, it's not complex. Where you get really, really savvy is when you're able to take the customer payout and convert that into a lead on your end and go out and buy leads, right? The ability for you to go and buy leads even when you're not getting paid by a lead. And that's where it gets really sexy. And the people that do it well can have a really, really successful business. So I'm going to get into that. That's the whole point of what we're doing today. And we're going to go down that road. But so performance marketer, right? We all listening to this are a performance marketer. Our lives are performance driven. We're result driven, right? We want everything to be measurable. That's what lead generation is. It's measurable, right? It's result driven. You're driving leads that are going to deliver a result of new customers, right? And the ability for you to measure what the cost of that lead is to you or what the value of that lead is to the end buyer is all measurable. It's all done. Generating 100,000 leads, getting 3,000 customers, that's a 3% conversion rate, right? How much money do they make off of those 3,000 sales, right? That's the value. That's the value that you get from the customer. You can back that out into a value on a per lead basis. You can back that out into a value on a per click basis, on a impression basis. You can back it out into all these different metrics that allow you now to get creative on you taking control of how you're going to go out and run your business. And if you do it in a way where you do something that no one else does, then that's an edge that you have that allows you to be successful, right? And that's all about risk reward. Customer acquisition is simple, right? Bring in and acquire your new customers. So again, we're all result driven. CPA in the market, that's the model. CPA, cost per acquisition. It's the amount of money your advertiser's going to pay you to acquire a customer. So if you're talking to a home security company and they tell you that they'll pay you for every person that installs their home security system, then they'll pay you $750 for every sale. Well, that's the CPA. An example here of a $100 CPA is $100 cost per acquisition. I think it's important for you guys to understand when you're out and you're talking to advertisers, there's a thing where there's the affiliate payout versus the media buy payout. The media buyers, it's a different payout. It's a different value, right? Companies have affiliate programs. They pay out to affiliates to generate leads, clicks, sales, what have you. That payout is normally lower than whatever a real media buyer would get, the real allowable that they have if they have internal buys for search or social, like on Facebook or sending emails. The cost per acquisition internally on those media buys will likely be higher than the affiliate payout. So in a scenario where when you get started, you're likely going to get the affiliate payout. But if you start to scale the business and you're doing a good job with that advertiser, you definitely want to have a conversation with them. You want to understand what their actual value per customer is so that you can determine if you can get paid higher, right? Especially if you're out and you're buying real media, and what I mean by that is there's a difference between somebody brokering something and going and giving it to somebody else versus you having a real buy on Google, on PPC or Bing, right? Or buying ads in Instagram or Facebook. Those are real media buys that they're doing internally. And if you could do it better than they can, they'll be willing to pay you more money if you can generate real leads and customers and you can scale it. So just keep that in mind. I thought that was important for you to understand because at the end of the day, depending on what you get paid out is going to determine what the value per lead is to you, okay? And what we're looking to do here is we want to go out and buy leads. We want to generate leads. And then we want to then get paid by the advertiser in leads. But there are a ton of advertisers that will not pay on a lead. And most people are like, all right, well, damn, I'm not getting paid on a lead by my advertiser. They'll only pay me on a sale, right? And that's very, very normal. They don't want to take the risk, right? We talked about risk reward. Advertisers don't want to take the risk to go out to the market and buy leads, maybe because they don't have the back end to convert the leads, maybe because they have the back end, but they still want to make sure that they get the sale before they go and pay out on that media because they've gotten burnt. There are times where guys will generate crappy leads and they won't convert those leads into customers, and then they go out and pay for 5,000 leads, and let's say they pay $2 a lead, so they spend 10 grand, and then they get any customers, and they're all pissed off. And that makes sense. Totally get it, right? Risk reward, right? When you're going out and you're buying on a sale, there's certain types of lead gen companies, any kind of media buyers that will run your offer on a cost per sale, right? Because it's more risk for them and less risk for the advertiser. If you're willing to go and pay for the lead, well then the advertiser's taking on more risk and you now can go out and just generate that lead, which is exciting. Most advertisers that have an unbelievable back-end process where they know that if they get the right leads that they're going to close, will go out and buy on a lead basis. And when they do, then that's where the business can get really, really scalable. And there's really no budget at the end of the day when you're backing it out into whatever their cost per acquisition allowable is, right? So if they're making that home security company that's paying out $750 for an installation, they could be making on a customer, over the life of that customer, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, right? Think about it. Anybody that installs a home security system into their home usually is either moving into a new home and needs to install a home security system, or they didn't have a home security system, and then all of a sudden there's all these break-ins and burglary and things are happening in town, and they got scared, so they're going to go and install something because they're scared for their safety, or they are working with a company where the product just didn't work. They didn't like the product, they didn't like the service, and they want to switch, right? But after that customer keeps that home security system pretty much until they leave that house, right? So if you live in a house for 20 years, you could be a customer for that home security system for 20 years. Once you install it, it's in your house. It's a pain to change it, right? So when they're out and they're generating these customers, they're taking into effect, how long is this guy going to be a customer of mine? And they do it on like a lifetime value, and there's some averages. And sometimes it takes time to get that money back, right? If they're going to make, let's say they make, $2,000 a year on each customer, and they, on average, have a customer for 10 years across all their businesses, right? All of their sales, there's people on average that stay in their house, and they have about 10 years that works out times $2,000. That means each new customer that you get will be valued at 20 grand to them. So can they go out and pay you $5,000 for the customer? I mean, hypothetically, yes, right? Now, we're also modeling this out after 10 years, so there's a cash flow issue there, right? If they're making $2,000 a year, right, for them to pay out $5,000, it would take them 3 years to get that money back and be profitable, right? And if you start to scale that and get a ton of customers, then it could be challenging for them, and they don't want to do that, right? But so just so you understand that, that's the whole concept here of what we're doing is we're going to take more risk, but by doing that, we're going to get more reward, because most people, like for that home security company, if we're out buying leads, no home security company is out there buying leads. So it's going to be very attractive to your partners to run media with you. And if you're willing to take that risk, and then you have a good partner in the back end that knows what they're doing on how to close, it's sexy, man. It really works well, and you'll see how it all unfolds here. But bottom line is, by doing this, we're taking control of our destiny. We're taking control of the ability for us to drive good business and scale a lead gen business without having to get paid on a lead, right? And we're doing that by arbitraging, right? We talked about what arbitrage was earlier, arbitraging the media buy, right? So we're out there looking to go and find placements, find media placements, buy media where we can generate a lead for less money than what the value per lead is that we're getting.